If you are flying into Tulum or even just considering it, you definitely have to watch this video. I recently flew in and out of the brand new Tulum Airport for the first time, and I definitely picked up some important tips I wish I knew beforehand. So in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step walkthrough and share everything you need to know before arriving and departing from the Tulum Airport.
Right. Made it to the Tulum Airport. We just got here. So what we're going to do is we are going to take you through, give you a step-by-step walkthrough because it's my first time as well, and show you exactly where to go, everything you need to know about the Tulum Airport.
The Tulum Airport opened in December 2023, so it's just over a year old. So I was really excited about experiencing a new and modern airport, but honestly was shocked as I walked through that it was almost completely the opposite. And soon you'll see what I mean.
Immigration, usually they don't let us record during this stop, so we're going to take you as long as we can, and then we'll tell you afterwards what it was like.
First stop is always immigration, and you have to prepare for anything because I've heard stories where people have had to wait 3 hours, 1 hour, sometimes it just takes 15 or 20 minutes. You don't know until you get off the plane. So when I arrived and saw that they do not have e-gates and the lines were pretty long, I was kind of expecting the worst.
Okay, made it through immigration. Actually, it wasn't that long. When I first saw the lines, I was a little nervous. I was thinking it was going to be like an hour, but it was only like 15 minutes. They had a lot of the staff booths, but no e-gates, which I was kind of shocked. So now the next stop is going to be customs. They have a duty-free here, which is great too. So if you wanted to stop, the laws are the same. You can't go over the legal limits. And then this is where you would get your checked-in luggage. All the carousels are right here. So let's go to customs.
As you're walking to customs, over here to the right is where you would get your checked-in luggage. I always try to recommend just doing a carry-on. If you can do it, it saves you so much time.
Made it through. Definitely a different experience than the Cancun airport. Not as up to date. Customs, they go through every single thing of your bag. It doesn't take long, but every person's bags do get searched. But really the process was about, I don't know, maybe like 30, 40 minutes, so it wasn't too long. Now we're gonna go around, we're gonna look to see what kind of things they have here. We're gonna find our transportation, maybe get a cup of coffee, maybe a margarita. We're gonna see if they have overpriced margaritas, just like they do at the Cancun airport. Let's go.
And the reason why the Tulum Airport does not have e-gates is because it was constructed with the sole purpose of being as eco-friendly and green as possible. And you can really notice these efforts throughout the airport. Also, just the whole vibe is really trying to reflect that jungle Tulum theme. In fact, that's what it's called, the Jungle Airport. The salespeople are also not as aggressive. So as you're leaving customs, they do have this little area, it's like 6 or 7 tables, we couldn't film there, of people approaching you and asking you to come over and see what they have, but that was it. You just say, no gracias, you keep walking. Let's talk airport transportation. So I did arrange private transportation through Nacho Tours. He has many drivers that can come here and take you to wherever you need to go. So I will put his information in the description below. For me, I feel it's worth the extra cost to get private transportation and make sure I have that safe and reliable ride, but I know it's not for everyone, especially here in Tulum, because Tulum is not really based on all-inclusive resorts. People go here to small boutique places, they explore, and so a lot of people do rent cars. And they do have several different companies right inside the airport that you can rent from, but my recommendation is to do your research, make sure you're choosing a reputable company, read the reviews, watch videos, and know what it's really like to rent a car in Tulum. In terms of public transportation, they do have the ADO bus and the Mayan train, but I don't have experience with either of these, but I will put the links to their websites in the description. If you have any experience with these, please let us know in the comment section. In terms of taxi services, they are available at the Tulum Airport, but it's very similar to Cancun where you can be taken advantage of very easily. They tend to hike or change the prices on you, and there's not as many available because this is a government-owned airport and they are very strict on what transportation companies are allowed into the airport and can provide services. Now, one thing that was very different from the Cancun airport is that you find your private transportation right there inside the airport. So Nacho was actually able to meet us inside, and then we walked with him outside to where his van was. Now let's walk around the inside of the airport a little bit. You can see it is very new. I loved all the windows and natural lighting. They do have some food options. They have about 4 or 5 different restaurants and a few bars as well. And the pricing is not nearly as ridiculous as the Cancun airport, thankfully. It is, of course, a little hiked, and I did get my overpriced margarita, but it was only $15 instead of $25 or $30 at the Cancun airport. And they do have some place where you can exchange money, but it will be at the highest exchange rate. So try to do this before leaving at your own bank or find a more local bank in town. And they also have a pharmacy and a mini market. So if you wanted to get some water or snacks before your ride, or if you needed to get anything from the pharmacy like sunscreen, it is there. And the price was similar. It's around $15 for a bottle of sunscreen. So overall, arriving in the Tulum airport was not the experience I was expecting. And I'm not going to say it was a bad experience. It's just different from the Cancun airport. And there were some things I loved about it, like the tranquil vibe, the less pushy salespeople, and the fact that the private transportation can meet you right inside the airport. And of course, the lower cost for food and margaritas and just everything in general seemed less expensive. I did not enjoy the immigration and the custom process, which is more manual, especially in customs where you have to wait for every single person to get their bags checked. Another thing that is surprising about the airport is that it's still an hour away from the hotel zone in Tulum. Now, I know it's better than the 2-hour drive from the Cancun airport, but I was surprised to find that it was so far away. And depending where you're flying from, it can be difficult to get flights to Tulum. Not all airlines have routes there, and in fact, some are now getting rid of the routes that they had. So I used United from Newark, and actually it was a great price, but they're getting rid of this route because they just couldn't get enough people to book it. And I didn't even end up staying in Tulum. Originally, when I booked the flight, I was going to stay at Secrets Tulum and then do a boutique resort. But then just after watching videos and doing research, I realized it was not going to be my vibe. There was a ton of construction, kind of hard to navigate. So I decided to stay at Secrets Moschee in Playa del Carmen, which was about an hour and 40 minutes from this airport. So now let's see what it's like to depart from the Tulum airport. Here we are, pulling into the Tulum airport. We're going to see how long it's going to take us. Hopefully it's going to be pretty quiet. Today is Thursday afternoon. Fingers crossed that the lines are low. Departing from the Tulum airport was a breeze and actually a very pleasant airport experience. And just to note, there is only one terminal. So you arrive and depart from the same terminal. When you enter, you're going to go upstairs for departures. Again, it was a Thursday afternoon, so the airport was super quiet, thankfully, because I only got there 1 hour before my flight was leaving, but I was not checking in a bag. If you are checking in a bag, I always recommend to allow at least 2 hours before your flight. This airport is really, really quiet. I don't know if it's like that all of the time, so you may not need that much time. There was literally nobody in security. And also, don't be alarmed when you see it's National Guards that are checking your passport. Again, this airport is government owned, so you see a lot of the National Guard around. All right, so we made it through in minutes. There's not much going on here. I think the process was, again, minutes. They did flag my bag because I didn't take the liquids out, but it was really easy. So now let's see what's here. We have the duty free. Want to pick up something? We'll do a little tour and see what's here. They do have 1 or 2 food and bar options before security, but once you get through, there are a lot of options. And the prices are typical airport prices, but not nearly as bad as Cancun. They had a ton of seating, even some lounge-like chairs. And unlike the Cancun airport, they had quite a few charging stations, which is always a must at the airport. And they even had a little indoor playground for kids. A lot of people always ask me about airport lounges. So Tulum does not have one yet. It is still under construction, so hopefully sometime this year that will be ready. I believe it's going to be a priority pass lounge. The only thing I did not like was I had to board the plane outside, which is not usual at this airport. It just kind of depends where your gate is. My gate was downstairs, so that was a little cumbersome trying to get your luggage up the stairs and on the plane. So if you're trying to decide between the Cancun or the Tulum airport, obviously location is a big factor. So I would personally pick the airport that is closest to the resort or the place that I'm staying. But price might be a factor as well. For instance, this last trip, it was way cheaper for me to fly into Tulum than it was the Cancun airport. But the transportation costs from the Tulum airport tend to be more than that of the Cancun airport. So you definitely want to do your research Most transportation companies will give you a free quote so you know ahead of time, so you don't end up paying more when you think you're saving money from flying into Tulum. And of course, if you have any questions about the airport or have recently arrived or departed and want to share your experiences or tips, please put those in the comment section below. I do try to respond to all comments and questions. And if you are new to my channel, 3 Days and Tres Noches, I bring you honest resort reviews, travel tips, and information about the destinations that I go to and show you can have an amazing vacation in a really short amount of time. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok, and keep following me because I'm getting ready to go on another adventure and do another resort review.